Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the final episode of this week's edition of Quarantrain. And today we are going to be making some baskets out of this printable here. So you're going to need a couple of supplies. You're going to need this basket, printable. You're going to need some yarn. So I actually have two different colors of yarn that I'm going to be using here. You're going to need a pair of scissors, and then some things that are going to help that aren't needed. You're going to need a single hole punch and a bobby pin, or a paper clip would work too, but these aren't needed. It'll just make the project easier, along with either a piece of construction paper or craft foam or felt, something that's going to match the yarn. That's going to be the base of our basket. And if you're just tuning in, my name is Maddy, and I'm with the Northern Rockies Museum. And Tara is on the comment section right now. So if you have any questions, if I miss one of your questions, just go and head over there. And please like and share this video. It really, really, really helps out the museum. So before we start, I wanted to show you what we're making. So we're making this basket here. They turn out really, really, really cute, and they are functional. You can actually put stuff in here, which is what makes them so awesome. And all you need is just that piece of paper and yarn. That's really what's going to make it. So to start out, the very first thing that we are going to do is we are going to cut around our basket here. We don't need to worry about any of these little triangle shapes. We're just going to cut the circle part of this out right now. So I'm going to grab my scissors and start cutting. And you'll see it when I'm cutting. I'm kind of cutting it not nice and smooth like a circle. I'm kind of cutting straight edges so that I'm cutting the straight edges of my printable as I'm going along here. So I'm just going to keep working along, cutting all of those out. And there we go. All done. And you will need to cut out this. This is your template for your felt or construction paper, craft foam, whatever it may be, right here. So you can cut that out. I'm going to save that for later. Don't need it quite yet. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out all of the triangle shapes from my basket. So the best way to do this is I'm going to hold it like this, and I'm going to take my scissors, and I am going to do one cut down this way and then another cut down the other way. And I'm going to keep going around doing all of the little triangle shapes on my basket here. So just keep going around doing them all. I know there's quite a few. It is a little tedious, but I'm sure that you guys got this. And I decided for my happy thought jar today, I am happy that we have paper in the world. I know that seems kind of silly, but there's so many amazing things that you can do with paper. Think of all the cool things that you guys have made during Quarantrain with paper. It's such a simple thing, but it has so many uses. And there's so many types of things that we haven't made in Quarantrain that you can do with paper, like origami. That's a really cool thing. Paper folding to make animals and such. So continuing on, so it kind of almost looks like a flower now. Gonna go keep working around. And yes, good morning to anybody who is joining us. Thank you so much. So glad to have you. Yeah, just keep going around. if you don't have a single hole punch, you really just need to poke holes in these circles next. That's our next step. So, you could use a pencil or something for that too. It doesn't have to be a hole punch. So I've got all of my basket all cut out. I'm just gonna put this scrap paper away here, put it off to the side. And so we're going to want to hole punch or poke a hole into all of the circles all the way around our basket. So I'm going to start doing that now. Making sure I got it all lined up. And you want to make sure you don't rip through here because we're using this to kind of finish off our basket and you need it to hold it in place. So it's important you don't rip this. So just keep working around your basket. How is school going for you guys at home? If you've been doing any cool projects or activities while you've been at home, I would certainly like to see those. All right, we're almost done here. Great. So now I have holes punched in all of the edges of my basket here. And that's all done. So I can put away my hole punch. I don't need this anymore. All done with that. I'm just going to put away all these little dots of paper left over. And I'm just going to set my scissors aside. I am going to need them to cut the end of my yarn. So our next step is I'm going to take all of these little arms or petals, I guess, of my basket, and I'm going to fold them into the middle like this. So I'm just going to keep folding, and they will overlap each other. And see how they kind of cross over? That's okay. That's just fine. So I'm just going to keep doing this all the way around. This is going to help us have an edge, make an edge for our bowl so that it has a bottom and then walls up on it. So just keep folding all of those down like that. And last one. So we just have this little tiny circle of paper that we've got after folding that all. And we are going to open it all up now. So we're just gonna break it open. And I'm gonna lay it down flat on the table here. So now I have my basket and we can start doing our weaving. So you can grab, if you had one of our packages, you can grab your bag of yarn. If you still have your yarn left over from your laser grid from our, I think that was our first week, that was a very long time ago, you can use that along with the other yarn that you got. So you can do kind of two different colors, or you can do it all one color. That's totally up to you. I really like this blue stuff here. I got this to do a costume, and so I thought, it'd be fun to make this bowl out of it too. So I've got a couple of arm lengths of yarn pulled out from my yarn ball here. And I am going to go to the bottom, the base of one of my petals here. And I am going to wrap my yarn around it and tie it in a knot. So I'm just going to fold down my other petals here, and I am going to do this for you guys. So I'm going to take my yarn, I'm going to wrap it around like that, and I'm going to tie it in a knot down here. Tie it in a knot. And I want this to stay really good, so I'm going to do a double knot on here. So I've got a double knot. You can cut off this little end bit here. We don't need that end. So now I've got my yarn attached to my basket. I'm going to open up all of the petals again, and I'm going to start weaving. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my yarn and I am going to bring it inside my basket, and I'm going to go around the next petal, around the next petal. All right, so now the string is on the inside, and on the next one, I am going to go in behind the next petal, and then I'm going to bring it in front and then onto the inside on the next petal here. So you can see it goes inside, outside, inside, outside. And I'm going to keep doing this all the way around my basket until I've gotten all the way around once. So we're going to keep doing this. So I'm going to go inside. I'm going to wrap it around the next petal and go onto the outside. And then I'm going to wrap it around the outside and come into the inside here. And wrap it around the inside and around the outside into the inside. Keep doing this. And it's much easier to do this if you have it set down on a table like this and you kind of are just going inside and outside. I was just doing that to show you guys what to do. So I'm going to keep going inside and outside. Inside and outside. I want to make sure my yarn is at the base of my basket and it hasn't pulled up. We want to make sure our basket is nice and full. All right, so I have made it all the way around my basket once, and I'm going to keep doing what I was doing, but this time you'll notice that when you're going around, the string will be on the opposite side that it was when you did your first loop around. So I'll show you what I mean here. It's just, so I'm going on the outside of this one, and now I'm coming around to do the inside on this one. Going around to the outside on this one, inside on the next one. So now we've got a nice solid line of weaving here, and we're going to keep doing this all the way around our basket. So make sure you got some yarn pulled out, and we're going to just keep weaving here, inside and outside. Now the first couple of rows are a little difficult. It will get a lot easier as you go on. It's just the first couple of ones that's not really held in place yet. So you have to be patient. Go nice and slow on this, making sure that you have your basket just right. And I've almost gone all the way around a second time here, and I'll show you what it looks like when we have it all the way around twice. Almost done. Okay, so I'm all the way around my basket twice. So you can see I've got a solid line on the outside and a solid line on the inside. And I'm actually going to go and push down all of my yarn because it's kind of come up here, and I want to make sure that I have a nice tight woven basket. Good. And now I'm going to continue doing what I was doing, just following that pattern of inside and outside. And this is a really easy template to make. So you guys could make your own with these petal shapes and make a really big basket if you wanted to. Or you can make a different shaped basket. You could do like an oval or a rectangle. That would be fun. This is a good starter shape, this circle. So I'm continuing to go inside and outside on my basket. So now I've gone around 3 times. And now that I've gone around 3 times, I'm going to make sure that this time I'm going to keep my petals a little more upright here so that I can start building my walls the size of my bowl up. So you can see here that they're sticking up right now, and I'm just going to keep using that as my form, and I'm going to go inside and outside. The paper, the printable that you guys have, is designed so that it will naturally start to fold up by itself as you do your weaving. Just helps it if you fold it yourself, and it will make it a little easier as you go along. So again, just inside and outside all the way around. Big chunky yarn is makes it a lot easier to do this project. Goes by a little quicker. So if you do have big chunky yarn at home, that's certainly the way to go to start. So you could start with big chunky yarn, and then after a while you could, after you've got this mastered, you could switch over to thinner yarn, or you can mix it up too. All right, I've almost done 4 here. So I got 4 all the way around. Now, we'll just keep going. Oh, you're really behind. Let me know what you need, and I can help you. And Tara is on the questions on the comments too, so she can help you as well. So, but really easy. You just need to make sure you have your printable and you cut out that flower shape. That's the first thing you need to start with. And you can also watch this after we're done too. It will be on our YouTube and Facebook pages. And I hope you guys have been thinking about what was in Tara's mystery suitcase this week. And I would love to hear if you were able to make any stories from the storytelling cubes. They're some of my favorites, those cubes, because there's some pretty cool stories that come out of them. All right, so my basket is coming together. My sides are starting to come up here. And so I'm just going to keep doing this. I know it seems like a long time, but these baskets look so cool when they're done. This would make an excellent gift for your mom, let's say, for Mother's Day, which is actually fairly close. So you can make this for Mother's Day. Or this would be a great basket at the front of your house for holding keys. Or maybe you have some jewelry in your room that you want to keep safe, or some special toys. This would be a great basket for that. And again, we're just going inside and outside around our petals, inside and outside, making sure that we are making sure our weaving is nice and tight. And I'm just going to keep working this around. Now, I did write this in the comment section of the video that Tara did on Tuesday of the storytelling cubes, but I think it's hilarious. One of the classes that we did for the storytelling cubes, we had one of the groups decide to come up with the origin of luging, which is kind of like, a big toboggan down a hill, and where did that start from? And so they rolled their storytelling cubes, and I think they got bear, mountain, elder, canoe. Those were the things that they had to work with. And so what they decided, their story was that there was this great big angry bear, very similar to Mr. Miss Squaw that you guys learned about yesterday. And this great big angry bear lived on top of a mountain, and every day he would walk down the mountain and he would harass all the people in the village because he was bored. And so the elder of the village went to the bear and he asked the bear if there was anything that they could do so that he wasn't so angry and they would leave the village alone. And the bear said, yes, there is something that you can do for me. There is a lake on top of my mountain, and in the middle of this lake there is an island, and on that island there are raspberries, and I love raspberries, and I would love if you could go and get those raspberries for me. And so the elder took one of the strongest men from the village, and that man took the canoe and portaged it up the mountain. Portage means carry. And he carried that canoe all the way up to the top of the mountain, and he paddled across the lake and got to the island, and he scoured the island and he looked everywhere for some raspberries, and he could not find any raspberries on that island. And he was quite sad because he was going to come back empty-handed, and the bear was going to be very angry. Well, he got back to the shore on the lake, and there was the bear and the elder waiting for him to come back with raspberries, but there were none to be had. And so the bear got very, very angry, and he pushed the elder and the strong man into the canoe, and he roared and he started to attack them. And as he was attacking them, he pushed them and the canoe down the mountain, and he himself, the bear, fell into the canoe. And they went all the way down the hill in a great big slide on the canoe and ended up in the village. Luckily, nobody was hurt, including the bear. And when all three of them got out of the canoe, the bear looked very happy. And the elder said, "Why are you so happy?" And the bear said, "I've never had so much fun in my whole life. If you bring this canoe up every season so that I can go down this mountain, I won't harass your village anymore." And so the village elder would have the strongest man every year bring the canoe up to the mountain a couple times a season so that the bear could go luging down the mountain. And I think that is a hilarious story. But that is one of the stories that a group came up with when they had those storytelling cubes. So that's just an example of something that you guys could come up with those storytelling cubes as well. So I've got quite a bit of my basket done here. If you can see, all of my sides are up now. So I'm just going to do a couple more. I don't want to cover up my holes on here because we're going to need that to do our threading, our attaching on. So I'm just going to do a couple more times around. All right. And all right. And it does get a little tricky up at the top because the yarn wants to kind of pop off. So you can see on mine, it's like, I don't want to be on here anymore. So just take your time weaving it in and out. But I think I'm done. I've done as far as I can go up. So I've got my basket here. And I am going to cut off about an arm's length of string from the end of my basket here. So I want a fair bit. Be generous on this. You'd rather have more yarn than too little. And there's two ways that you can finish this. So you could do what I did on this one is I did a band of yarn on the top, and then I used my yarn to tie it all together right here. Or like the picture that you guys have on your printable, you can just leave it as the paper and then sew it in together. So I'm going to show how to do the yarn band, and then it's the same way to secure the yarn as it is to secure just if you're leaving it just the paper. So what we're going to do is going to take out a bunch of yarn, and I'm going to flip my bowl upside down. So I've got my bowl upside down so that you guys can see this here. The bowl's upside down, and I'm going to take some yarn here, and I am going to wrap this yarn, around the bottom of I guess this is the rim of my bowl here. So it's the area that's touching the table, and I'm just going to wrap this around a couple of times. And this is going to be what is the rim of your bowl here. So we'll do this. I'd say if you're doing a thicker yarn, then you probably only need like 3 or 4 times. The thinner yarn, I'd probably say 5 or 6. But there we go. So I've got that wrapped around, and I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to just put that yarn over there because we don't need it anymore. So I'm going to take my yarn off here, and I'm going to tie my 2 ends together here so that this doesn't come apart. So just going to tie our ends together, and then I'm just going to pull it. So I've got this loop shape, right? A loop shape. I'm going to flip over my basket. I'm going to put my loop shape on top of my basket, right on the edge. So it's just sitting there. Kind of looks a little weird, a little silly, but it's just going to sit there for now. And this is where a bobby pin or a paper clip is going to come in handy. If you're using a paper clip, you might want to stretch it out so it's not quite so fat, so it can fit through those holes. But you're going to want to take the yarn, the end of the yarn that's attached to your bowl, and you're going to take your bobby pin, and you're going to put your bobby pin over top or through your yarn. So we're imagining now that this bobby pin is a needle and this yarn is thread here. And this is going to make it easier for us to thread our yarn through those holes. So I've got this all done, and now, and I'm going to do my very best to show you guys this because it is a little difficult. So I'm going to take my yarn, my thread here, and I am going to stick this through my hole. All right, through the hole, and I'm going to pull it through. So pull all of that through. So I've got that through, and now I'm going to take the end of my needle and thread, and I'm going to wrap it over top of my yarn that I put on the rim there and through the hole. If I can see that. And pull that through. And pull it nice and tight. So now this yarn is stuck on there. It's not going anywhere. So I'm going to keep doing this to all of them, and I'll explain it a few more times so you guys can watch. So the yarn is coming out from the inside here, and I'm going to wrap it around the top of my bowl and into the next hole, which is right here. So I'm going to put my needle through there and pull it through and around. And if you are doing just your paper and you're not doing this rim on here, you can do just what I'm doing, exactly the same thing, except you're not going around the top of the yarn rim here that we're making. So I'm going to do that again. So I've got my yarn, and I'm going to go through this hole here and pull it through. And I'm going to do that again. Each time making sure that I am going around my yarn to hold it in place. So let's find the next hole, which is right here. I'm going to stick that in there and through and pull that in. And you just keep doing that until you make your way all the way around your bowl. So again, I'm going to stick this through here and pull that tight. And through again. Oops. Right, so you can see that side of my bowl is really coming together, and then that other side I haven't done, you can tell the difference there. So this has all been finished up here, and we'll be able to pull the string up so that this area will be covered. Okay, so I'm gonna keep doing my weaving here, so my threading, so I'm gonna stick this through. There, and then wrap around and stick it through the hole again. Try not to miss any of your sections. Okay, so now we're going to do through this hole again. Oops. Almost done. We've almost got it all done. And this is a great skill to have, guys. Think of all the cool things that you can make now that you know how to weave. Oh, and see, now I have just caught some of my yarn, so I'm just going to cut that little bit so that don't pull my weaving. There we go. All right, looks like I've only got 3 more left to do. Almost at the end. Two more. And my one side is kind of bunching up here, so I'm just using my fingers to spread the yarn out on the top a little more evenly so it's not all bunched up at the end. And this is my last one. So through that hole, my bobby pin, out. Okay, so I've made it all the way around my basket. Whoops. All the way around my basket, and I am going to go through my first hole that I went through, and I'm going to wrap it around and tie a knot here. So I'm going to go through this hole, through that hole, pull out this yarn, and I am going to leave a little loop here, and I'm going to tie a knot with this. Tie it into place and do a double knot. We want to make sure that this is really secure. Great. So I'm just going to cut the extra off of my basket. And here we go. So we've got my woven basket here, and I am just going to go around on the sides, and you guys can do this on your own time here, but you can move up the weaving so that you don't see so much of the white, and you can kind of play around with your top section there, so you don't see so much white. Great. And now this is your chance to do your base. So that was that template that you had there. And so this is just so that you cut this out and you will trace this onto your craft foam or felt or whatever. And then you're going to just glue that or place it into your the bottom of your basket. And you can do 2 of these. So you can trace this onto a piece of foam or whatever and put one on the inside, and you can put one on the bottom too, so that you have a fully covered basket and nobody would know that you made this out of paper because it just looks so lovely. And that's it for our basket weaving class. Now, next week is our last week of our package programs for Quarantrain, but Tara and I have been talking, and we are going to extend Quarantrain on. It might look a little different, being a little different format, but we are still going to be doing videos and programming for you guys. Next week, Tara is doing her human rights program, and it is going to be very inspiring and awesome, and you guys are going to be feeling really good at the end of it. And our very last class, we are going to be making a plate that you can use and decorate. So really excited about that too. Please make sure to like and share this video. It helps out the museum so much. And if you have the opportunity, please make a small donation on our website. That's a big deal too. And thank you guys so much for joining us again to make our little woven bowls here. And I look forward to seeing you in the very, very, very near future.